Okay, well, good afternoon and welcome to the webinar for Escape This. My name is Tim Eisenhower from On Market. We are the investment platform that's helping bring Escape This to the crowd. And I'd like to welcome Bernie James, CEO, who's here today with us. I'll
Hello.
throw to Bernie in a moment. The agenda for today, I just wanted to provide some details around Escape This crowdfunding campaign. I'm then going to throw to Bernie, who's going to give us something we haven't done before, but I'm quite excited for it, a behind-the-scenes tour of his, what we call it, your development and production facility for
Production
escape rooms
studio, factory.
in Perth, so that's exciting. Bernie will then do a short presentation. I think it's about 5 or 6 slides talking about sort of some of the key things in and around his business and why they're doing a crowdfunding. I'm then going to, after that, ask Bernie the questions that you guys are posing. So you'll see in the webinar there an opportunity for you to pose your questions. Please do so at any stage, and I'll go through that and work through those questions, and Bernie will get to answer as many as he possibly can. Just a quick intro to Escape This. They are a vertically integrated premium location-based entertainment operator. They design, they build, they operate fully immersive and cinematic escape room experiences. And I'm assuming a lot of people here on the call today have been to one of their facilities, maybe in Perth or Sydney. Since they've launched in 2020, and these are impressive numbers. I was blown away when Bernie told me this, but they've served 350,000 guests over those 5 years. Across only 4 venues. As I mentioned, they're in Perth and Sydney, and they achieve a 65% repeat visitation rate. I think that's probably because a lot of people can't get out, Bernie, and then they come back to try and crack the nut. And maintained a Google review average of 4.9 out of 5. They are looking to raise $3 million, and we'll run through what that use of funds is for. Importantly, the campaign is in what we call the expression of interest phase at the moment. So the EOI phase, where you get to express your interest. They've had interest so far from over 1,000 investors. We clicked over 1,000 yesterday. That's in 2 weeks, which is impressive. Still with a week to go. And that week to go is that we go live into what we call a private period, which is only available for those that have expressed their interest. And that's next Tuesday, August the 26th. Just one more 30-second bit just on crowdfunding. There is a limit of $10,000 on retail investors. If you are a sophisticated investor and you are able to invest more than $10,000. But it's important just to know that if you're a retail, you're capped at a $10,000 investment. The call to action here today really is for you people to learn more about Escape This. If you haven't expressed your interest, to do so. And once you've done that, you will be invited into that, what we call the private period next Tuesday. I now want to throw to Bernie. He's going to take us on a 10 to 15-minute walk through his operation, which we're quite excited about. And we'll come back and do a short presentation after that. So throw to Bernie, who's co-founder and CEO of Escape This.
Hello, everyone. Okay, right. This is exciting. Thank you, Tim. Okay, so what we're going to do, as Tim has said, we're going to do a little bit of a walk through the production facility we've got here, our factory over in Perth. What I'm going to focus on is what we class as our 5 pillars of totally immersive escape rooms. And I'll go through each area in turn very briefly, hopefully, as long as I don't get too carried away and excited as I am describing everything. So the first part is production. This is where all our escape rooms start. The second pillar is the props, the things that our guests handle and manipulate inside our escape room environments. There's the set, which is, the world building that we do, be it a submarine or a pirate ship or wizard's castle. There is the scenic artistry to tie everything in together. And then very importantly is the technical aspect. And we spend a lot of time on the tech infrastructure that is underpinning all our rooms. So first of all, I am going to just give you a brief insight when we start a room. If I can flip the camera correctly, there we go. So all of our rooms start as production as one of these flowcharts here. I think that one is one that we're working on at the moment, upgrading. It's Dracula. And so that is how a room starts. There's a few up there. We start with that and then we flesh everything out from there. So we start with that premise, our story, and our map of the journey that our guests are going to travel on. And so let's go to our second pillar then. Oh, and in the production part of it is all the audio, the narrative, the storyline, and the puzzle flow. If we go inside here, this is where a lot of the design of props. This is Naomi. Give a wave, Naomi. Naomi does a lot of the 3D printing designs that we build stuff. This, I believe, is a dark grimoire. We've got to be careful around that in case we get sucked into the pages. I'm going to try and move on down inside of here. It's a little bit of a dark room. We've got some 3D printers going. These guys are running pretty much 24/7. All sorts of very cool stuff comes out of here. As anyone familiar with 3D printers will know, but we burn through those guys on a relatively regular basis. So that's a very brief part of the props, which we'll come back to. Inside of here, we're moving into part of our tech. This is where a lot of the coding, the software that runs our rooms. There's a very cool little circuit board being designed on screen there by Vincent. Nice and complicated. All of our stuff is proprietary. I believe Tristan here is working on, so we've got these Nokia phones that some people will recognize. We got these guys, put our own software and hardware in, so that when people pick them up, they think they're actually making an actual phone call, but they are phoning our room. I think we've got.
Can do. Yeah, 1, 2, 3. Just a test number, but.
Okay, and so where's that ringing? Is that ringing anywhere?
So it rings, and then once a few times, we should see it complete over here.
Okay.
Once it's done, and then we trigger the room audio.
All right, awesome. Okay, so those phones there, we recode them, put the circuitry in, and then they talk to our room. Inside of here, we've got some more of the tech stuff, working on some props. Dave's working on some blenders for Cannibal, I believe. Dave is our tech lead. So these guys, a lot of people have seen these kind of things, I guess. But one of the challenges we had with this is a lot of the time when these blenders or this kind of thing is incorporated in escape rooms, it's all about the sound, which is great. But we wanted the actual blades to turn, and we wanted blades in there to see. And so we had to engineer our own little blades so that they weren't going to cut people's arms off when we were going through. I hope I'm not moving the camera too fast as we're going round. More stuff going on in here. As we go out here into here we go. This is Daniel, my fellow co-founder. Daniel has been, well, where have you been, Dan?
I've been in Melbourne having a look for some potential new locations. There's a lot of interesting potentials there. So, yeah, the hunt continues.
All right. Okay. So that is us building forwards towards being ready for the what we're going to do with this capital raise. And that's Dan spending a lot of time. That's what Dan's focusing on, is the network expansion, finding the venues, locking those in, and then the installation and the build, shop fit out of our escape rooms. And this is actually quite cool what's going on over here. There's some pneumatics and stuff going on over here. We've got Ben working on the pneumatics. Is that? Yeah, hit the button. So that, when that is skinned, is a zombie arm that attacks our guests when they are inside our zombie apocalypse. We have those distributed around the the room, and at various stages they get grabbed. We're building that. At the moment, we're building a zombie for Sydney. That one is destined for. And so going on, so we're going through props again now, and props and tech work very closely together. We've got some cool stuff going on here. I must confess, I don't know everything that's going on. In fact, I know very little what's going on. They are, well, let's have a look. So there's laser printing going on over here.
Yeah, for zombie.
Okay, more stuff for zombie. Everything's fabricated in-house. So I think these guys here start life 3D printed as plastic, and then they cover them in tzatziki by the look of things, and make them nice and sandy. So it's very important that everything is tactile to touch. We need to make sure that everything feels and looks, well, awesome inside the rooms, totally immersive, which is our most important words. We're going for total immersion all the time. We've got some more stuff and props going on here. Give a wave. Hello here. There's actually fewer people in the workshop today than there would normally be, because we've got installations going on. We've got Frankenstein being installed over in Sydney. We've got an upgrade of Buried Alive here in Perth, and Zombie as well being prepped for. I'm just crossing this is our courtyard. This is where our containers get delivered, which we fill up with the rooms once we containers, and then they get shipped over to, at the moment, Sydney, but soon to be Melbourne as well. Let's see if we can see that all behind. This is where all the set, all right, keeps following me. Let's do it the other way. This is where the set pieces, the bigger items get built over this side. So I'll walk down in a second, and that's where our CNC is, the welding and more heavy machinery and what have you goes on down here. This is the shop floor office going on. Here's Andrew, very important, backstage lead. It's always a little bit of a thing of, don't know what I'm going to find when I come in here. But going back through, we'll go through back into the workshop proper. Now, this is very cool, actually. Hopefully it's the right stuff on the CNC. This is Sophie. So this is our CNC. It's a full-size bed. So we can do some really cool stuff. So this is some stone castle walls there coming out. So that's just on MDF coming out of the CNC. But if I just quickly race down here, from that point then, we can do some various stuff. So it looks rubbish when it just comes out of the CNC, but we texture it and cover it in all sandy stuff, so that we've got, again, we want, when people are in our rooms, they're touching stuff, hearing stuff, feeling stuff, smelling stuff, everything. Nothing breaks the fourth wall and makes them not believe they're in the environment that we have put them within. I've got a little spray booth over here. I think it's safe to go in. Yeah, can open the door. So that's just, wow, that wasn't, would be opening up the spray booth, but there you go. Then, what else can I show you around here? I'm not sure how long I've taken, whether I'm over time or under time. This is a London telephone box under construction, the smallest escape room in Australia, possibly the world. So if we go inside of here, it's a little bit cozy, 2 people only, and you've got to escape from a phone booth. We've got one in Perth CBD. It looks a little bit redder than that one does. So it is a very cool and unusual experience, that one, incredibly popular. Down here, there's Griff. We've got Griff planning to do some welding by the looks of stuff.
Yeah.
And so this is Are these the zombie arm cuts?
Jump scares on the arms.
Okay, all right, okay. I don't think we can see that, but anyway, there's some plans up on the wall. And then we come round to here, and Eli is working on stuff. Okay, zombie sliding doors. We've got going on over there. So there's a fair bit going on in there. I'm going to start heading back towards the office. I want to just touch on one thing as I walk back through. Sorry if it's a bit windy. It's windy in the courtyard there. When they have built, when we've got our pieces together, the production side of things, the audio, the narratives, the props, the set, the scenic, and the tech, we staged them here. And so currently being staged here is ready, being built. It's not all here, but we're starting to stage out Asylum, ready to be shipped to Melbourne. And we've got everything we need for checking the sound. Let's see if this is working. This is destined for wizards, I think. So we check the sounds and the gameplay of everything within here. Like I say, a little bit thinner in the staging area because we just shipped it all to be installed. But anyway, there's a very a brief and quick walkthrough. I think I'm on the forecast time then.
You've done well, Bernie.
Okay, all right, okay. Have I run over by a couple of minutes? Just a couple of minutes.
No, you're good. You've given us a good background.
Okay.
So Bernie is now going to give us. He's going to share his screen in a moment. He's going to give us a bit of a run through in relation to the growth of the company, maybe a little bit about the origins, Bernie. I think a lot of people want to know about where those crazy ideas come from for your escape rooms. But your competitive advantage over your competitors, a little bit about your traction, where it's going to, but also then where the business is heading. You talked about Melbourne. I think we've talked about Brisbane, and we've got a large number of people on the webinar at the moment. And I say to you guys, if you have any questions that Bernie isn't answering, please jot them down in the Q&A, and we'll get to them after Bernie does his sort of brief overview here. But thank you for those that have already put their questions in, and we'll get to those as Bernie finishes up.
All right, awesome. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so let's see whether I can get. I'm guessing, Tim, people can see that. Is my screen shared correctly?
Yes, they can. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'll start with is just a brief overview and history of Escape This, where it's come from. So we launched Escape This back in 2020. In fact, our first escape room booking, I believe, was on the 26th of January 2020. So we all know what happened 5 weeks later. It wasn't the best of timings, I guess, with hindsight. However, we spent that time really working very hard to develop what Escape This has become and turned into, which is, we decided very early on that escape rooms should not just be a series of puzzles in a room. People should feel like they're traveling on a journey. There should be an adventure unfolding. The puzzles should be constructs of the narrative more than anything else, so that people, when they start, they're traveling through and having an adventure in a world that at no point is there anything that breaks that experience, that total immersion that we're looking for. Now, it's very obvious that our particular take on everything, it resonates. It really does resonate with our guests. So since January 2020, and even with a pandemic in the middle and all the shutdowns that entailed, etc., we have grown to being currently over $6 million in revenue and $17 million to date. Now, I just want to correct one of the numbers that Tim said. Tim said 350,000 guests to date. It is actually more like 380,000 now, because obviously it's going up every week. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. It's a bigger number now, and I think even our all our documentation says 370, but it goes up very, very quickly. We are quite obviously the leading brand across Australia in what we do, not just because of number of locations with 4, we're on the East Coast and the West Coast, but the quantity of guest throughput that's going through. A lot of that is down to how well what we produce resonates with our guests. We have that awesome repeat custom. So people are, when they're playing, a significant proportion of our new bookings, if I pick any 10 of them, I can see that they have already booked with us previously and played with us. And what they're doing is they're coming back, and they are also reintroducing new guests into our ecosystem, who then want to go through and play all of our rooms. We're currently at, I think, 21 experiences in Perth. When we cap out in Perth soon, it'll be about 25, and then Perth will be rocking, but there's still scope for more. Part of that as well is to the fact that we're now vertically integrated, insofar as we are in complete control of the quality of our experiences, their deployment, and we take a great deal of care over maintaining them, so that all of our guests should be experiencing our rooms as if they're the first people to go through those rooms. So that gives you a little bit of an overview. And yeah, it says there, Escape This, we believe the best stories aren't read or watched on screen, they are experienced in person. And I think that's a really important quote. That's why I'm reading it out verbatim, because that is what we believe. It should be in-person entertainment, totally immersive. So our attraction today, I already touched a little bit on that on the first slide. So we started off with the 2 founders, as would be common, but what is less common potentially is we're now at more than 80 staff. I think it's actually over 90 staff now. Now, obviously that includes our front of house staff, our backstage team, our technical team, and also the back office. So we're a very serious operation going on. Don't let this smile fool you. Perth Hay Street Mall is one of the, if not the largest escape room venues in the Southern Hemisphere. If you've not seen it and you can come and see it, then you should experience that. It's just impressive what's going on in there. We are now ready to scale out and roll with the vertically integrated factory. We've already proven that our approach to escape rooms resonates on both sides of the country. We know that we can scale this massively from here. So we're ready to push harder, scale across, and you can see the revenue growth there as we've been going through the 5 years of operations. I would like to think that after we are gone through this raise and are pushing and scaling out, that we'll see that steepness of that line increasing as we go. And you can see some of our rooms have won awards as well, or centres in fact. Competitive advantage there. These are almost data points that we're talking about there. As I say, that's probably our guess is probably north of 380,000 now, over 6,000 5-star reviews. Our rooms are incredibly high quality. We spend a lot of time crafting them to make sure that they are just of the best possible quality. We are with this scalable model. The idea will be is that there is across any of our centres, wherever they happen to be, that the experience will be and should be identical. So if you're playing Cannibal in Northbridge, you'll be getting the same experience that you're getting at Cannibal in Sydney, Cannibal in Melbourne, Cannibal in Brisbane. Just as a little side note, as we've got some numbers in there with thousands in there, most of our rooms have in excess of 3,000 words scripted. That's the story, the protagonist and the antagonist in the room with you, guiding you through your adventure. So there is a lot of stuff that it goes into the production side of our rooms. And in fact, some of the rooms in Sydney are multilingual, so they can speak in both Chinese and English, which we've trialed, rolled out with our systems, the software guys, and ultimately our rooms can speak any number of languages. So we should be able to cater more and more, and there's obviously scaling opportunities beyond Australia as a result. We've got some numbers there that are pretty impressive. So our average revenue per room is 259,000. Our top performing room, out of interest, is 329 per annum. And obviously we can start taking the lessons from our top performing rooms, start applying them into our other rooms, and push our average up and up and up from there. 30 operational escape rooms across Australia, across the 4 centres. We are looking, I think it probably says further down in these slides, we want to be over the 100 mark, 107 I think it is, within 3 years from now. We operate a very high gross margin, which is going to allow us as we go forwards to really leverage off of the fixed costs and scale that up higher, and the actual net profitability up higher and higher as we go. Oh, it says the 100 escape rooms right there, but it'll be 107 hopefully by 2028. We generally invest about 100,000 per room, which is high, but with the revenues that you can see there on average, and also the gross margins, you can see that we get to capex break even much quicker than you might anticipate. And so yeah, so use of funds. So we're looking for that over 100 rooms. I think it's actually 107 when it's all broken down in the next 3 years. There is a massive opportunity ahead in the immersive entertainment sector and location-based. They're generally, and this stretches beyond escape rooms as well. Generally, it's a very fragmented industry with small operators who've got limited capital resources. We are got those advantages of scale that we can really invest in the quality of our experiences and really push what it means to have a totally immersive escape room. So these funds that we're talking about now in this current raise, the main purpose is Brisbane, Melbourne, and then from there we will start looking beyond. And I think that's it. I think I've been through those. We're down to questions slides.
Thank you,
So,
Bernie.
I'll come off screen share.
Good idea. There's a lot of questions, which is a good thing. We've got an engaged audience. I'll try and put them into some sort of order for you.
Okay.
The first one that's coming up, and it was probably to do with your last slide. People are wanting to know if they're buying shares just in Melbourne and Brisbane, or is it the whole company itself that people are investing in?
Okay. Oh yeah, awesome question. So you are investing in Escape This as a whole. So you're investing in the existing centres, the existing 4 centres, the factory, and the new centres that will be opening. So
all the growth as well. So you're investing in what we call Topco, the top company, which is the holding of everything. So
yeah, absolutely, that's it. Yeah, so you're getting you're investing in all the work that's already been done and the work that's going to be done.
Okay,
as
and
we go
then
forward.
related to that, there's a number of questions, and this always comes up in any crowdfunding opportunity, and they're all good questions. That is on return on investment. I'm happy to sort of talk to you about that, but I'll say that the first and foremost that investors need to understand is this is an unlisted company. You're a private unlisted company, so you're buying shares in that, and that means that it's not like buying stocks on the ASX, which has liquidity. Do you want to talk through, Bernie, just what the major plan is? And there's questions around time horizon of the investment. What does the exit look like? Will there be dividends, or are you reinvesting any profits into the company and growing it? And then there's a sale at the end to another business. Do you want to talk through just a little bit around that?
Yeah. Look, this is a really important question and an important answer, because obviously that is what investing is all about. It's about that. So look, in the immediate term, these first 3 years, certainly we are looking to reinvest all the profits alongside the capital raise to scale, so that we can leverage where we currently are. Beyond that, from the a final exit point of view, the exact timings, the shorter the better, I'm guessing. But I envisage that there is a listing potential at the end of this, an IPO, when we get to that Australian full coverage. I anticipate that there is also potential for a trade sale to a large operator in hospitality or leisure. That sector is more and more interested in incorporating and integrating immersive entertainment inside of their precincts. And then there's also potential interest from the bigger production studios who are looking to have tighter control over leveraging their existing franchises going forward. So from an exit point of view, there's some pretty exciting options there as we go. In the middle of that, I would anticipate that there will be some dividend distribution, but certainly not in the very short term. Yeah. And I think that we're looking from a horizon point of view, somewhere in the region of 5 years.
Okay, that's a good answer. No, well explained. Just a couple of questions, and staying on the sort of finance bent. Questions in and around ownership of your factory, ownership of the locations you're in Perth and Sydney. Are they rented? Are they owned? Assets of the company, that sort of thing.
Okay, yes. So all right. So the premises we rent, we lease the premises. So
that's your factory you're talking about.
Yeah, the factory, we lease it. The centres we lease as well.
Okay.
We rent those because otherwise we'd be diverting growth capital into bricks and mortar.
Makes sense.
Beyond all of that, all the assets are held by Escape This. Yes, Escape This owns all those. Is that the answer to that question?
Yeah, and then just on that, and last question on this for a little while. I think it's important for people to know that they're buying shares in the company, but they're also getting what we call investor rewards. Can you explain some of those investor rewards and the fact that you're getting both?
Okay, yeah. So yes, as is traditional with equity crowdfunding, I think all over the world, but as well as getting the shares in the company, you also get rewards. I think that whilst our rewards they're awesome, they're really good. I'm really excited for the rewards we're offering. I think it's important for people to know that they're the icing on the cake. They're awesome, but they're the icing on the cake. What the main piece here, the main event, is the equity, the shares in the company. Having said that, let's talk about some of those rewards. So we've got there are starting from the smaller parcel tiers. We've got pretty heavily discounted escape rooms for a year for the shareholder, and for their bookings. As you go through, there's the opportunity for in-person tours of the facilities, backstage tours, so you can see behind the scenes of the rooms, behind the scenes of the factory, of what's going on, and engage within even the design process in some of those rewards. And then one of the most exciting rewards is to be able to guest star in one of the rooms. You could be the protagonist, the antagonist, the hero or the villain within one of our rooms. And even I don't guest star in any of our rooms. So that's a pretty hardcore reward right there.
Good answer. There's so many questions here. They're good questions too. A little bit about your valuation, please. What the valuation is, and then how much, based on if you did raise the maximum $3 million, what dilution that would be, and who the major external owners of the rump of the shares would be.
Okay, yeah. So the valuation is 12 million of Escape This pre-money. So we are looking to raise 3 million. So if we achieve that maximum, then we are a post-money valuation of 15 million, and that means essentially 20% of the shares. Yeah, we're selling 20% equity, and the other shareholders are myself and Daniel,
who we met. Okay.
Yeah,
and the IP in and around the design of the themes and the rooms themselves. Can you expand on that for us?
Oh yeah, so as I say, we work on from the production point. We start writing the room, so we've got the game flow as we go through the story, the script. I think I mentioned there's over 3,000. Yes, I did. I recall it now. Over 3,000 words generally in our room. So it's like a small novel that we write in our books. But that's on the production side of things, the visual and the experiential aesthetics, as it were. But inside, underneath it all, is the proprietary technology that we've developed. So all of the I didn't actually show because I was rushing through, but all of our integrated circuits and our code, the software we've written, the board, well, you saw Vincent designing one. We've got different circuitry for controlling different aspects of the atmosphere within the room, be it lights, audio, the wind, the scents. There is just as a almost anecdotal, some of our rooms will have up to 100 individually addressable, and by individually addressable I mean we can control the hue, the color, the saturation, the effect, light globes within the room. So there's quite a bit of underlying IP that is associated with individual rooms, but also associated with Escape This at large.
Okay. So some questions on top line revenue and the growth over the last couple of years, and also what that looks like on an EBITDA number at the bottom.
Okay.
Now and potentially going forward, where you see that going.
Okay, so I guess it's worth noting that the revenue that we're quoting of the 6 million, it's worth just pointing out that that isn't annualized. That's actually the revenue for the tax year. And by what I mean by that, just in case that's unclear, by annualized is a lot of the rooms that feature in that revenue year weren't launched until later on in the year. So if they'd all been open for the full year, it is probable and predictable, I guess, that the revenues would have been significantly higher. Now, currently, I think that bottom line number for the last 2 years, the net profit after tax, or the NPAT, has been circa 1 million for each year. That just gets reinvested into the company developing the tech, the IP, and also scaling moving forwards. If we assume that we are looking for, in 3 years, 107 rooms, and our current average is 259,000 per room, then the maths are, well, whilst they're not easy enough just to whack out in my head, they are significantly higher than where we are at the moment in time. I think 107 times 259. Plus, we've also got improvements we can make. We're constantly learning. We know what resonates better, what makes a room higher revenue, and so we tweak as we go.
One of the questions that came in, Bernie, was sort of what have you learned from your Perth and Sydney experiences in relation to efficiency, costings, the whole works to expand into Melbourne and Brisbane. And then the other question was, if you reach capacity in Sydney and in Perth, do you then keep expanding into other parts of Sydney? I know you're currently in Manly and currently in George Street. Do you go to other places? Same with Perth, I guess, or any city.
Okay, yeah. Right, I'll focus on that second question because I've forgotten the first question. Can jump back to
The first question was your learnings from what you've done so far that you would take into expansion rooms or expansion locations like Melbourne, other places in Sydney, Perth, Brisbane, etc.
Yeah, okay, all right, I'll start with that then. Oh, look, so many learnings, and to be honest with you, I could fill a webinar with just the learnings. We have, but some of the important ones from an investor point of view, I guess, are that we know what rooms work. We know we've learned by trialing which ones resonate best with guests for both actually placing a booking for that room, so a high revenue room, and what rooms are really good for attracting eyeballs so people come and book a different room. And so it is which rooms attract the most repeat custom, because when you're generating so many guests, so much through, it's I think it might be 120,000 per year going through our rooms at this moment in time. When you've got that level of throughput, you've got some really amazing numbers that you can work with about what is the most effective for generating room from a concept and a repeat business point of view. There's also massive efficiencies from the point of view of learnings about resilience, maintenance requirements. When you're telling people to go inside a space and interrogate the entire environment, not just with their eyeballs, but with their fingers, their feet, prod it, poke it, and see what comes apart. There is massive lessons within there. We also know which locations. We know what is a really good size, the optimum size for an escape room centre, the sizes of escape rooms. So look, there's huge learnings within there, and I could fill an entire webinar, I think, with those. With respect to the second part of that question, which is if we fill up the centres to capacity, will we go back and, I guess, consolidate our position within those? And the answer is categorically yes. So in Perth, when we've still got a few more rooms to install in our centres that are already in Perth. When it's finished in Perth, we're at 21 rooms now, I think, or 20 rooms. It will be 25 escape room experiences in Perth. I suspect that we will be able to go north of that number further down the line. Having said that, the most intelligent commercial choice to make is first to expand into the new marketplaces, get that foothold, and then expand further. We'll certainly put more into
and just on the Melbourne and Brisbane expansion, is it one at a time? Is it doing it together? I mean, is there a time lag between finding Melbourne? You spoke to Daniel before. He's been down to Melbourne to check out sites. Are they in the city centre? Are they out in the outskirts at Chadstone, or etc.? Just a few things on that.
Yeah. Okay. We like city centre. We like where angels fear to tread, I guess, the high rent locations, right? We know what our formula is. We're incredibly confident with our formula. So no, we look generally for CBD. From the point of view of whether it's simultaneous or not, the spacing between those is dependent on a couple of things. First of all, the size of this round, because obviously that's very capital intensive, setting up a new centre, and also the finding and negotiations on suitable premises.
Sure.
So
and are they long-term leases, 5-year, 10-year? What do you like to do?
we like to know that we can be somewhere for a good 10, 12 years.
Okay. So you negotiate a 5+5 with a first
Yeah,
option?
5 + 5, or 5 + 5 + 5, just depends on who,
Sure.
the location.
Questions around your R&D rebate, because that's obviously key to your revenue. The numbers you gave before, are they inclusive of the R&D rebate?
Not the revenue.
Right.
For sure, the revenue I'm talking about is from bookings. I think that the way that you have to account for it is you put it inside of there. But obviously, because that is reinvestment we're investing in capital and stuff ends up on the balance sheet, then yes, that the bottom line figure is impacted by that.
And why are you? What rebates are they? Why are you eligible to get a government R&D rebate?
Because we're doing a whole ton of R&D, I think is the best way. Yeah, I mean, you saw a small part of our tech team. They're in there working, experimenting on software, on hardware, all day, every day. And they are going at it. And then you've got all the monitoring of that and what have you. I think, yeah, it's what we're trying to do is, it's very, very worthy of it. And when we're finished, it's going to be quite, I mean, it's already incredible. But when we're finished, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Questions around, and these are good questions, and I think it's important for people to know this of any business, is management. So between yourself and Daniel, can you give I didn't give you a sort of a little biography to start off with, but can you give a little bit of background on yourself and your brother running these businesses and what you've done and why investors should have faith in crowdfunding? Is always risky, right? You're investing in someone, there isn't a liquidity event, I'm handing my money over to you, I'm trusting the fact that the business will grow over the next couple of years and there will be some form of liquidity event, I can get my return on investment back, be it the trade, sale, or IPO, as you rightly mentioned. Can you give just some background onto your experience, your management experience?
Yeah, sure. So myself and Daniel, we've been working together in this sector, not escape rooms, but in the location-based entertainment leisure sector for 27 years, I think. And during that period of time, we have covered everything from event management companies and team building companies, which we founded and run, just to clarify, not just working within, through to paintball sites. We were the largest network of paintball sites across the UK in the early 2000s. We had both a network of centrally owned paintball sites, and also we worked with other operators, generating them bookings, sending them bookings. We moved into aggregation bookings platforms. We also actually still a piece of booking software specifically for the leisure sector. And so there isn't really an area within this industry, this sector, that we haven't touched upon. We actually watched escape rooms evolve and emerge when they first started to occur through our aggregator platform as escape rooms were joining. They, in the early days, as with most emerging operations, certainly in the leisure sector, they can be a little bit clunky at the start. And so we watched it through, and then it was, we got to a certain point and we just thought, right, okay, we can do something quite magical here. I think just before I veer off the question, I think it'd be very difficult to find two founders, entrepreneurs with more experience in the leisure sector vertical than we've actually got, and across the whole of it.
Yeah. And Bernie, is it just Australia you're targeting, or is it once you've Australia's obviously not as big as other markets? I mean, would you look to global expansion into back to Europe where you were before, or into America?
Look, I think that there's a huge opportunity out there. There's huge similarities with the fragmentation of the market here in Australia, and as to it is in the rest of the world. There are some players starting to emerge elsewhere, but as a general rule of thumb, the market remains wide open. So I would say, whilst it's not in the short-term plan, which is Australia, I would imagine that may well be an activity or something to explore further down the line.
Little bit about after the raise. Shareholders obviously have their rights, and it's important that you'll be communicating back out to them. Can you give a sort of run through as to what maybe you haven't put your mind to this, but there will be a shareholder registry appointed. I forget who that was.
I think Cake
Equity will be the shareholder registry. For those asking questions about where do I find a share certificate, how can I track my shares, that'll all be done through Cake, and that'll be communicated by Escape this out to the number of hundreds of shareholders that come in on this. The other one about that would be how often you would be communicating out to your shareholder base, Bernie, so they're up to date.
So the plan is quarterly updates out for the progress. Now, obviously, there'll be more meat in some updates than other updates, but the current plan is to have quite a regimented that we will be sending out quarterly updates of progress, what we're doing, what's going on. There could be others if there's a big event in between that. But that is the communication plan.
Yep. And the other side of that is that the shares that are offered in the company are ordinary shares. So there was a question around preferred shares. These are all ordinary shares in the company. And I think the shares are at $1. As I said, with a pre-money valuation of $12 million. Other questions that come in, a couple more lighthearted ones for you. Where did the ideas come from? How do you come up with Buried Alive and Cannibal, and how do you then take that from an idea to into your factory, into the premises we just did the tour of, to see what you've done?
Yeah, so I look, like so many ideas in stories and what have you. It's out from what is going on in the wider entertainment market. So it could be books, it could be movies that inspire. It's very much it's the ideas that are out there, and then sometimes you just might get struck by a bolt of inspiration about this would make a great concept for a room, and then we work backwards from there. We always start with the story and the flowcharts that are still behind me. So, but I think while we're on that, what's important is to stress that they don't come out of one person's head. So they are very much, it is a collaborative process that involves everybody from tech, props, set, scenic, because it's one thing to having a great idea. It's, you've got to execute it. You've got to be able to deliver it in the room. So it is a big coming together of all those creative minds that we've got out on the factory floor.
How many escape rooms have you played in your life, and what would be your favorite one?
I've played, I'm in hundreds for sure, multiple hundreds. I've played them all over the world. Look, my favourite escape room, and the guys, if any of them watch this, will laugh at this because they all know what the answer is. It's the one we're currently building. I get so goddamn excited when I am watching something come to life from what starts as something quite dry and formal as a flowchart and becomes this three-dimensional world that people can explore. So yeah, that's the answer. The one that we're currently building.
Okay. I'm conscious of time, so we've got about 5 minutes and a couple more questions. In and around, there's a question in and around if the raise is oversubscribed. I can answer that for you. I guess there's $3 million worth of shares available. If it's oversubscribed, Bernie, I guess people will miss out. There won't be another raise in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, and certainly not at this valuation. Because
well, that's true as well. I think the other answer to that is that the way not to miss out would be to definitely express your interest, because then you're in the first batch of people getting you are the first batch of people getting the communications as to when that will open, and that private period, which is only for the people that express their interest, is next Tuesday. I think it'll be sort of lunchtime East Coast, maybe 11 a.m. West Coast, to give people a feel for that. So look out for that email from On Market letting you know. There'll be a link there through to the landing page from which you click through to invest your interest and fund that accordingly. Other questions then in and around?
Tim, can I just jump in on that one as well? Just to say, look, as well to everyone listening, it is, it's what I've been saying to people when I've got the opportunity to speak to people directly is, use that, that private deal room, that opening next week to secure your allocation, because I've spoken to a lot of people who are incredibly enthusiastic about this opportunity. So it's probably fair to say it's a little bit of a first come first served situation. So yeah, guys, I would I'd take that opportunity next week to avoid the disappointment.
A couple of questions just came in then. How do I invest over $10,000? The $10,000 is the limit for a retail investor. But if you are a sophisticated investor, you can invest over $10,000. So you'll need a certificate from your accountant and ask them around getting a sophisticated investor certificate. That will allow you to invest more than $10,000. Clarification again, Bernie, just on whether profit will be given to shareholders or you'll reinvest that profit.
So certainly in this short to immediate term, in this first growth phase for this 3 years of getting to over the 100 rooms, it is highly likely that the profits are just going to be reinvested so that we get to that benchmark as soon as we possibly can.
Okay, investor rewards, good question, which I don't think we've overlooked this, but if you don't live in Perth or Sydney, you wanted to get a 1-year discount for the rewards. Can you apply that to Melbourne or Brisbane or one of your newer locations when that comes up?
Yes.
Okay. If you don't live in any of those locations, can you get other investor rewards on discounted rooms? So you can't make the most of discounted rewards. I guess that's something to have a look at. And
I think that and the previous question is probably something to give some thought to. About that, what that actually looks like and how that would work. Yeah.
Okay. The other one here, just in relation to, I just guess good question. Why not go and get a loan? Why go down the crowdfunding path in terms of your choice of your equity method?
Okay, yeah. So look, there's a number of reasons for going down this route, and I think the most significant one has been proven as the round plays out is the enthusiasm of our customer base to be involved, not just from how much our repeat guests love doing our rooms, give us all these reviews, but also that desire to own part of what is going on. And then at the other side of the round, we will end up with hopefully a small army of highly engaged, highly enthusiastic ambassadors for the business. So whenever anyone talks to you about escape rooms, you'll be recommending Escape This quickly. So I think that is one of the big defining points about deciding to come down this route.
Okay. Excellent. I'm going to wrap it up there. We've hit 3 o'clock on the East Coast. But big thank you. That was it's the first time we've really done sort of a behind the scenes showing of the issuer, that's you guys, and issuer's premises, and I think it worked really well. So we hope everyone enjoyed that. Just a couple of finer points, just reiterating sort of the opening. We're currently in what we call the expression of interest phase. You can express your interest. You can tell us how much you're looking to invest. You give us your phone number and obviously your email address. We'll be in contact. It'll be next Tuesday, West Coast time. I think it'll probably be 11 a.m. It might be East Coast time, 1 p.m. With the link that'll take you to the landing page where you can invest into the company. You'll have a private audience in that. So if you're not in expression, if you haven't expressed your interest, you won't be invited into that. So that's important. For the first 2 or 3 days, you'll have a private opportunity. I can say that currently, based on the 1,000+ expressions of interest, we have had indications of more than the $3 million that are being raised. So that's important to think about in terms of just a little bit of urgency there to make sure you don't miss out on next Tuesday. But thank you, Bernie.
No worries.
The offer document for the company will be available next Tuesday. That's important. 45-page document. It's a really good one that explains everything we've been through today. Some of the slides Bernie was sharing today were actually pages from that offer document. So it is very well designed. It runs through the story. It talks about everything you need to know about the company to make an adequate investment. So I thank you again, Bernie, and appreciate your time. And we look forward to a successful raise.
Thank you, guys. That was awesome. And I hope I didn't make anyone too seasick with running around with an iPad.
You were terrific. Terrific.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Cheers, guys.